For years, DJ Khaled built a reputation as one of the most recognizable names in hip-hop. His catchphrases, his collaborations, and his larger-than-life personality made him a household figure far beyond the music industry. But in recent years, something has shifted. The same man once seen as unstoppable now finds himself at the center of criticism, fading relevance, and questions about his place in the culture. From industry disputes to accusations of staying silent during moments of global crisis, Khaled's story has taken turns that few could have predicted. And while his success on the charts is undeniable, the controversies surrounding him have many wondering whether he's in the middle of a slow but steady fall from grace. Like and subscribe to Stars and Hypes for more, and let's continue. To understand where things stand now, it's important to look back at the point when DJ Khaled appeared to be at the absolute top of the game. His 2017 album Grateful was certified double platinum in the United States, a level of success that few producers ever reach on their own projects. The singles from that era were impossible to ignore. I'm the One, featuring Justin Bieber, Quavo, Chance the Rapper, and Lil Wayne, shot straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, while Wild Thoughts featuring Rihanna and Bryson Tiller became one of the defining hits of the summer. These weren't just popular records, they were cultural staples that played everywhere, from radio stations to nightclubs, from high school dances to professional sports arenas. But it wasn't just the music fueling Khaled's rise. Around the same time, he found a way to turn himself into a constant presence in pop culture through social media. His Snapchat, in particular, became legendary. What started as casual glimpses into his daily life, watering plants, working out, or giving motivational speeches, quickly turned into viral moments. His catchphrases like "Major Key," "They don't want you to win," and "Bless up" became part of internet language quoted by fans, celebrities, and even athletes. For many, watching Khaled's stories felt like watching a mix of comedy, motivation, and entertainment rolled into one. This online persona elevated him beyond the role of a traditional producer. He was no longer just the man behind the records. He became a mainstream celebrity in his own right. He appeared on magazine covers, talk shows, commercials, and even children's programming, presenting himself as a figure of positivity and relentless ambition. At the same time, his ability to bring together major artists on a single track reinforced the idea that he wasn't just making music, but curating cultural moments. By this point, Khaled had carved out a unique space in the industry. He wasn't a rapper, and he didn't always produce every beat himself, but he positioned himself as a connector. Someone who could gather the right talent, add his own energy, and deliver a record that felt larger than life. With commercial success, a viral social media presence, and access to the biggest names in music, it seemed like nothing could slow him down. While DJ Khaled had enjoyed years of consistent success, 2019 marked a turning point that shifted the way many fans and industry insiders viewed him. That year, Khaled released Father of Assad, an album he heavily promoted as one of his strongest projects to date. Given the momentum from his earlier records, many assumed it would follow the same path as Grateful and easily dominate the charts. But what Khaled didn't anticipate was running into direct competition from Tyler, the Creator, who released his now classic album Igor during the same period. What happened next surprised almost everyone. Instead of Khaled taking the #1 spot as many predicted, it was Tyler who claimed the top position on the Billboard 200. Igor was widely praised for its originality, experimentation, and emotional depth. It showed Tyler moving into new creative territory, blending rap with funk, R&B, and neo-soul influences. For fans and critics alike, it was a bold step forward. Khaled's Father of Assad, while packed with star features and polished production, simply didn't generate the same excitement. The reaction from Khaled became one of the most talked about moments of that year. Instead of congratulating Tyler or quietly accepting the chart results, Khaled expressed frustration on social media. In a since-deleted video, he seemed to dismiss Tyler's music, saying that he made albums so people can play it and you actually hear it, implying that Tyler's work was too obscure or mysterious to connect with the masses. This comment quickly spread online, and fans interpreted it as an attempt to downplay Tyler's artistry while positioning himself as the creator of so-called real music. The backlash was immediate. Many saw Khaled's comments as revealing a side of him that was more concerned with numbers and recognition than with creativity or artistic expression. Tyler himself didn't respond with anger, but instead used humor to highlight how rattled Khaled seemed. In interviews, he joked about how funny it was to watch someone so obsessed with being #1 struggle when their expectations didn't match reality. Tyler's calm, almost playful reaction contrasted sharply with Khaled's frustration, and it shifted public sympathy away from Khaled. For fans, this moment was bigger than just a chart battle. It exposed the vulnerability in Khaled's carefully constructed image. The man who once branded himself as endlessly positive and motivational suddenly appeared bitter and competitive. And while the incident didn't end his career, it left a mark. Many began to see him less as the cheerful connector of artists and more as someone who measured his value solely by chart positions. In hindsight, the feud with Tyler wasn't just about one album or 1 week on the charts. It became a cultural moment that redefined how DJ Khaled was perceived. For some, it was the first time the public saw cracks in his larger-than-life persona. And once those cracks appeared, it became much harder for him to maintain the flawless image that had powered his rise. In the years following the Tyler controversy, DJ Khaled continued to present himself as the larger-than-life figure fans had come to expect. But as time went on, the same qualities that once made him entertaining began to spark criticism. His love of showing off his wealth and success, which had once seemed playful, started to feel increasingly disconnected from the reality many fans were living through. One viral example came when Khaled was filmed being carried by his security team to avoid getting his sneakers dirty. For someone who built his image on positivity and hard work, this moment struck many as tone-deaf. Instead of inspiring fans, it looked like a symbol of extravagance and detachment. A man so far removed from everyday struggles that even keeping his shoes clean became someone else's responsibility. This wasn't an isolated incident. Over time, Khaled's online presence shifted from motivational messages and lighthearted humor to displays of luxury, expensive cars, massive homes, and elaborate celebrations. While this kind of content had always been part of his brand, the cultural climate had changed. With growing conversations about inequality, economic hardship, and social responsibility, constant reminders of excessive wealth no longer resonated in the same way. It also highlighted the tension within Khaled's persona. On one hand, he promoted himself as a man of the people, offering encouragement and preaching positivity. On the other hand, he seemed increasingly focused on demonstrating just how different his life was from the average listeners. That contradiction made it difficult for fans to connect with him in the way they once did during his Snapchat heyday. Critics began to argue that Khaled's public image had lost its balance. The lightheartedness and relatability that once made him a fan favorite were being overshadowed by moments that came across as self-indulgent. Instead of seeing him as an inspirational figure, more and more people started to view him as out of touch. This shift in perception didn't immediately derail his career, but it added to the growing sense that his carefully constructed brand was beginning to show signs of wear. And as the cultural conversation turned toward issues far larger than music, Khaled's approach of focusing only on celebration and luxury would soon come under even greater scrutiny. Alongside conversations about DJ Khaled's music and public image, one topic that has occasionally surfaced is his approach to speaking on global issues, particularly those connected to his Palestinian heritage. While Khaled has openly acknowledged his background in interviews, he has generally chosen to keep his platform focused on music, positivity, and entertainment rather than political or social commentary. This decision has drawn mixed reactions over the years. Some fans appreciate that he avoids controversy and sticks to uplifting content, while others feel that his influence could carry weight if he chose to speak out more directly. These conversations became especially noticeable during times of heightened tension in the Middle East, when Khaled continued to share lifestyle updates, studio sessions, and celebratory posts. In these moments, his comment sections often reflected the split. Many followers continued showing support, while others voiced disappointment that he remained quiet about global events tied to his heritage. Public figures have occasionally weighed in as well, noting the contrast between Khaled's upbeat persona and the serious issues unfolding overseas. Meanwhile, some family members and fans have expressed hope that one day he might use his platform in a more outspoken way. But for now, Khaled has remained consistent in presenting himself as a figure of positivity, unity, and entertainment rather than entering discussions that could pull him into political debates. For better or worse, this approach fits into a long-running pattern in Khaled's career. From changing his stage name early on to carefully curating his social media presence, he has often chosen the safer path to protect his image and brand. To some, that makes him a disciplined entertainer. To others, it raises questions about what role cultural figures should play in larger conversations. Either way, Khaled's choice to focus on celebration and success has become another defining aspect of how he is perceived today. While DJ Khaled has always been known for his ability to bring together some of the biggest names in music, in recent years that reputation has faced challenges. His career has largely thrived on collaboration, uniting stars like Drake, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Rihanna, and Lil Wayne on tracks that felt like cultural events. But as time has gone on, maintaining those relationships at the same level has proven more difficult. One of the clearest examples came with Drake, an artist who has been central to several of Khaled's biggest hits. In early 2025, Khaled hinted that his upcoming album would feature not one but two Drake collaborations. He promoted this heavily on social media with posts and banners emphasizing their continued partnership. But when Drake himself playfully commented on Khaled's announcement suggesting the news wasn't accurate, the excitement around the rollout shifted. Khaled quickly deleted the post, leaving fans speculating about what had really happened. This wasn't the first time questions had been raised about their partnership. Industry insiders had long whispered about uneven splits on certain collaborations, with Drake allegedly holding more control over the final product. Whether those stories were exaggerated or not, The incident highlighted the delicate balance Khaled faces. When his brand depends so heavily on star features, any uncertainty around those partnerships becomes highly visible. Drake isn't the only artist where tensions have surfaced. Rappers like Kodak Black have taken shots at Khaled in snippets and online posts, while others have joked about his reliance on major features. Part of the challenge comes from the competitive nature of hip-hop itself. As feuds and rivalries heat up between major players like Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and others, Khaled, who often works with all sides, finds himself in a complicated position. Staying neutral helps him avoid taking part in conflicts, but it also risks making him seem detached or overly cautious to those who value loyalty in such disputes. The result is a growing perception that Khaled's once unshakable industry connections may not be as secure as they once appeared. While he still has access to big names and can bring attention to his projects, the dynamics have shifted. In an era where many artists prioritize authenticity and long-term loyalty, Khaled's collaborative approach, built on assembling superstar lineups, faces new scrutiny. For a figure whose career has always been fueled by relationships, these cracks in the foundation raise important questions about how sustainable his model will be in the future. As Khaled's relationships with major stars became more complicated, new tensions began to surface in other parts of the industry. One example came from Kodak Black, an artist who had previously collaborated with Khaled on tracks like It Ain't Safe. Despite their past work together, Kodak later previewed a snippet where he dismissed Khaled by name, signaling that not all of their interactions had ended on good terms. This wasn't an isolated moment. In hip-hop circles, Khaled's collaborative approach has often been the subject of jokes. Because his albums are built around bringing together as many major names as possible, critics sometimes argue that he relies too heavily on star power rather than building music that can stand on its own. When rivalries break out among big artists, like the ongoing tensions between Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and others, Khaled's neutral stance has occasionally put him in the middle. Instead of being praised for diplomacy, some see it as a lack of loyalty, a quality that can carry significant weight in an industry built on personal connections. Even casual comments from rappers and fans often reflect this perception. Online jokes circulate about how Khaled will struggle to assemble features if certain camps refuse to work with him. While these are exaggerated for humor, they point to an underlying reality. When so much of his identity as an artist is tied to collaboration, any cracks in those networks can be magnified. At the same time, some defenders argue that Khaled is simply sticking to what he does best, serving as a connector, motivator, and promoter who brings people together for larger-than-life records. Still, in an era where authenticity and individual artistry are increasingly valued, that role is harder to defend than it once was. As these criticisms stack up, they add another dimension to Khaled's public image. Once viewed as a unifying figure whose albums celebrated the spirit of collaboration, he now faces skepticism from peers and audiences who wonder if his formula is starting to wear thin. As the challenges around DJ Khaled's image and industry relationships became more visible, his efforts to reinvent himself started to draw attention as well. Known for his relentless optimism, Khaled has consistently framed every new project as bigger and more important than the last. But in recent years, that enthusiasm has sometimes come across as overstatement, leading to skepticism about whether the reality matches the hype. One example is his frequent use of social media to declare upcoming albums as career-defining or the biggest ever. While this level of excitement fits his brand, it has made it harder to surprise audiences who have heard the same promises many times before. Similarly, Khaled has leaned into viral internet trends in an effort to stay relevant with younger audiences. These moments generate attention in the short term, but they also highlight a shift from the organic buzz of his Snapchat era to a more calculated attempt at keeping pace with the online cycle. Khaled has also drawn notice for retelling industry stories in ways that place him at the center of hip-hop history. In interviews, he has recalled being present during pivotal moments, such as claiming he was around when Lil Wayne first connected with Birdman. While these anecdotes are delivered with enthusiasm, some observers have pointed out that the timelines don't always line up. Whether taken as exaggerations or simply enthusiastic memories, these stories have added to the perception that Khaled sometimes stretches the truth to maintain his role as a key figure in hip-hop's narrative. Outside of music, he has hinted at expanding into film and television projects, describing them as the next chapter of his career. At the same time, he has made significant business moves, including selling the rights to parts of his catalog. Supporters see this as a smart decision that secures long-term financial success, while others interpret it as a sign that he may be preparing for a future less centered on music. These reinvention efforts show Khaled's determination to adapt, but they also reveal the pressure he faces. The same qualities that once made him unique, his motivational energy, his ability to bring people together, his larger-than-life personality, now require constant maintenance in a culture that moves faster than ever. And while his optimism remains intact, the question is whether audiences will continue to respond to it in the same way they once did. DJ Khaled's career has always been about more than just music. From his rise as a radio DJ to his transformation into a global brand, he's built an image rooted in positivity, collaboration, and larger-than-life ambition. At his peak, he seemed unstoppable, delivering hits that dominated the charts and creating viral moments that made him one of the most recognizable figures in popular culture. But as the years have passed, that image has become more complicated. Chart disputes, questions about loyalty, criticism of his extravagant persona, and speculation about his industry relationships have all chipped away at the flawless brand he once projected. At the same time, his attempts to reinvent himself through viral trends and exaggerated stories have shown both his determination to stay relevant and the difficulty of maintaining momentum in a constantly changing landscape. What makes Khaled's story so unique is that it reflects the tension many public figures face today: how to balance entertainment with authenticity, ambition with humility, and positivity with accountability. Some fans see him as an inspiring figure who continues to celebrate life and bring people together, while others view him as a personality whose formula may no longer resonate in the same way it once did. What comes next for DJ Khaled remains uncertain. He has hinted at new projects in television and film, and his business moves suggest he is thinking about the bigger picture beyond music. Whether those efforts succeed or not, one thing is clear: DJ Khaled has left an undeniable mark on hip-hop and popular culture. And as the industry continues to evolve, the real question may not be whether he can recapture his past dominance, but how he chooses to define success in the next chapter of his career. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to Stars and Hype so you don't miss what's coming next. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how things will continue in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care and have a great day.